All right. All right.
What is it? Where they at though? Where they at
All
though?
right. Let's start. Okay, so we out. What's good, Nazi?
Where they at though? Can you hear me?
What's good, King?
I can't hear you though.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Where you at?
Okay. You can hear me?
Where you at though?
Can you hear me out?
I can't
I
hear
can't
you.
hear you out.
Okay, I can hear you now. You can't hear me?
Oh, I think you on my headset. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
I think you on my headset. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so it's on my headset. Yeah, no doubt, man. Make sure you add me after this.
Hallelujah.
Right? Add me back on Facebook after this, man. All right. So I got
it seems like you low though, like your volume is really low though.
Yeah, because hold on, let me transition for a second. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah, your stuff is like super low.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know why it's doing this. Let me turn this off.
You can't turn your volume up?
Yes, up. You can hear me now, right?
I can hear you.
That's better, right?
I can hear you, bro. But your volume is low. My mic muted. So my mic is good now. But I can't hear you though. I mean, I can hear you, but it's real low.
Do you have a headset? You got a headset on you?
No, I'm gonna go to my car. Hold on. Let me go to my car.
All right, so I'm gonna mute you for
But you got some more people coming through?
Yeah. I'm gonna mute you for 1 second. Hold on, I'm gonna mute you for 1 second. All right. Perry got on. Shout out to Perry. All right. Man, I don't know where everybody else went, but it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. All right. Yo, they crazy right there, man. Yo, all right. So it's the Sabbath, man. We about to get started. We got about 33 people watching now. Make sure you share the link, family. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. All praise to the Most High Yah. We have a subject matter on the table. I got 2 panelists that's here. After pleading for over an hour to get more people on, I got 2 people that jumping in that want to have this discussion. Because both of these brothers, I'm cool with both of them. I have no issues, no ill will towards them, nothing like that. You know what I mean? So we're not going to go crazy on each other like that. But I know both of these brothers subscribe to this particular doctrine. So it's excellent that I got them on here. But they wasn't even the ones that was putting their chest out. The ones that was putting their chest out is not even on this panel right now. And I sent them the link. So it's all good. So what we're going to discuss today is, are African Americans exclusively from the tribe of Judah? Are African Americans exclusively from the tribe of Judah? And I want somebody to prove this without a shadow of a doubt, biblically and extra biblically to me, that the African Americans, or so-called blacks, Negroes in America, is exclusively from the tribe of Judah. All right, so that means I need you to go into history. All right, like I said, I pulled out some books. So I know some of y'all read these books, right? Some of y'all read this. Babylon Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Winsor. Y'all can probably try to show me in here. Like I told y'all before, it's an excellent read, but I don't agree with everything in here because some of it can't be verified outside of this book, and that's cool. Also, Hebrewisms of West Africa by Joseph J. Williams. This book was also quoted by Dr. Yosef Ben Yochanan in his book, We the Black Jews. All right, this is also a great book. I've read through it, and maybe y'all can use this book as well. Give me a page number that you got on here, and I'll read it. All right, if y'all want to get into those books, and I also have several other books. All right, if y'all want to get into it as well. All right, so let's get started. All right, I don't want to waste no time. It's already late. All right, so first I'm gonna let the 2 panelists introduce themselves. In the chat room, if any of y'all know somebody that want to get on this, let me know, and I'll send y'all the link, and you can get them to join in. All right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna share the link with the group chat. All right. Yo, Alan is crazy. Alan, this is not for you. I don't even know why Alan is here. Alan is cool, man, but I don't know why Alan is here. All right. Let me share this real quick. Alan, do not come on this. Alan, it's not for you. Bro, we'll discuss this at another time. All right. If y'all know somebody. It's crazy. All right, we back. Brother Perry, unmute your mic. I'll unmute it for you. Hold on. Oh no, there you go. Oh, my bad. Unmute it.
Nah, I hear you, baby.
Okay, there you go. I don't know what's up with my connection. My connection bugging out. So I think somebody trying to hack me, so I won't have this show. But it's all good.
Right. I mean, if they doing all that, that's crazy. But I mean, as far as like the proof and all that, this is
no. Perry, introduce yourself to the people. I want them to know who you are.
Okay. You know, I'm Warrior Hebrew Perry. Please subscribe to my page. You know, my job growing, doing numbers. You know, help to continue that. I'm gonna start the live stream soon. You know, put together a couple of shows, have some intelligent brothers, you know, have real conversations. You know what I'm saying? I think we need more platforms. You dig? So yeah, that's me. Please subscribe, you know.
All right, I'm gonna get back to you, Ak, and I'm gonna let you give an intro. I'm gonna open up to my brother Demise, aka Nazi Mitzvah. Unmute your mic, Ak, and just introduce yourself briefly to the people. If you want to shout out your page or your YouTube channel, you know I'm okay with that. So go ahead, Ak.
Yo. Hold on real quick. Let me grab. Hey, holla back at the brother you was just talking to. Hold on real quick. So I'm about to get out of here. Real quick, I'm about to get out of here. So deal with the brother real quick. Hold on. Just so you know, that's why you waited. Why? Huh? Oh my goodness. All right, man. I'll let you slide with that one. All right, I'm going out now. Hold on. All right, yo, Ron, what's good, man?
Yeah, what's good? Go ahead. Introduce yourself to the people, fam.
All right. I'm back. I'm in the car now, man. Hold on. Let me get some light out here.
Yeah, you sound much better now.
Car now.
You got a drink on you?
No, man. I'm on live, man.
Oh, you ain't got no drink on you, do you?
No, I'm on live.
Oh, you ain't got none in your pockets? They say you got a drink on you.
Bro, we good, bro.
All right, man.
Yeah, man. Yo. What's going down? All right. My name Nasi, man. Nasi Mitzvah. That's who I am. I believe that the southern kingdom is the children of Judah. According to the time of the separation that took place, the southern kingdom was mentioned as the children of Judah. I believe that the children of Judah, the southern kingdom, was spread to the four corners of the earth. And I believe that because that is what's written in Thus saith the Most High. And I stand grounded on that. So once again, my name Nasi Mitzvah. Y'all can catch me on Facebook, Nasiy, Mitzvah, Mitsvhh. Y'all can catch me on there. We make it happen. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm gonna stand grounded. I'm gonna represent my culture, and I'm gonna always hold on to my roots. Period. So there we go. You can have the flow, Aki.
All right, all right. I appreciate that, my brother Nazi Mitzvah. Putting in that work. All right, family. So I'm gonna give a quick intro, and then I'm gonna let the brothers give an intro to kind of they're gonna have about 5 minutes. I'll give them about 4 or 5 minutes, and that way they can pretty much establish their premise. All right, and remember, their objective is to defend that so-called African Americans and blacks in America are exclusively from the tribe of Judah. All right, so I'm gonna give you a few minutes of my position real quick. So 2 years ago, and a little over 2 years, when I first came into the walk, and I'm not gonna say I was first exposed to the community, but coming into the community after doing some research and stuff, I was convicted at that time that the so-called African American or blacks in America are from the tribe of Judah exclusively, right? I did not fully subscribe to the chart at all. Whether or not I agreed or disagreed with it, I didn't fully subscribe to it. But I held on to the notion that African Americans and so-called blacks and Negroes in America are from the tribe of Judah. I did some further research, and I said to myself, surely if these individuals here in America are from the tribe of Judah, surely we should be able to go back to West Africa, and surely the communities that were depleted, right, from the transatlantic slave trade, and the smaller groups within them that subscribe to being Israelites. Now, some people say, oh, they were converted and stuff like that. Whether that's the case or not, when we speak to the griots of those West African tribes, of those smaller sects within other groups who identify themselves as being Israelites, I don't see any of them claiming to be from the tribe of Judah. Now, I can stand corrected, and I would love for somebody to share the information with me if they have it. We can definitely discuss it. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to see, prior to 1492, which was when the rise of the Moorish Empire, they preceded that time period, but that's when they climax in them and the Sephardim, who's a mixture of some of the southern tribes with the Berber tribes and other North African tribes who converted to Second Temple Judaism, okay? And they influenced the Iberian Peninsula and the peoples that lived there, that those individuals had a different form of culture than what is found in West Africa. And their culture consisted a lot of Second Temple Judaism, which would be some of the halakhic laws, which would be some of the Talmudic teachings from the Mishnah and Gemara, which would be some of the customs, etc., that we see from Second Temple Judaism. That was the influence that was occurring in North Africa and the Iberian Peninsula. In 1492 and subsequent years, there was a push out of these individuals from the Iberian Peninsula back into North Africa, and then a lot of these individuals made their way into West Africa, where they've encountered the already existing Israelite tribes that were there, and conversions took place. All right, whether it was the tribes that was already there, or whether it was individuals who are indigenous peoples that was converted over to Second Temple Judaism. All right. Now, if that's the case, my subscription is the term Jew, or the Yahudi or Yahudim, that these Israelites were called in West Africa. I believe, and I'm gonna say I believe for now because I heard the word believe used. I'm gonna say believe, but then I'm gonna get into some information that these individuals were, this nomenclature of Jew or Yahudim was a misnomer, because the individuals that were there in that area were those of the northern tribes. You don't call the northern tribes the Yahudim, because the northern tribes have a different culture set that slightly differs from Second Temple Judaism. And we see this all throughout the text. Matter of fact, there's actually a book that we don't have today that is written about the kings of Israel that we no longer possess. So a lot of the testimony that we have in regard to the scriptures come the captivity, spewed out the land. What went awry? And the first method of blaming was going towards the northern tribes and the heathenistic ways that they had. And because of such, that brought the rest of Israel and then later Judah into doing the wrong thing, right? So the last thing I'm going to say to summarize that is, I want to see what the brothers have to say to defend this position. I want to ask them, if you believe that there was a kingdom of Judah, Ouida, that's currently there in the country of Benin in West Africa today, if you believe that that was a kingdom of Judites, because I used to teach this, and I apologize to the family for promoting this, because I found out that I was wrong, and I'm okay with admitting that, right? If you believe that Ouida, or the kingdom of Judah, which is now in modern day Benin, south of Benin, near the coast, which then later on became a slave port, and it was later on taken over by the kings of Dahomey. Prior to that, if you believe that those individuals there were from the tribe of Judah, I have two questions for you. The first question I'm going to ask you, if they were from the tribe of Judah, who were they putting into slavery? Who were they selling to slavery? Their own people? Themselves? And number two, second question I want to ask, where did those slaves go? Did they come directly to the Americas? Did they go to the West Indies? Did they go to Brazil and South America? Did they go to Central America? Where did those people go? Because if you're telling me that those are Judites, then that means they should have exclusively gone from there all the way over to the North American shores. You have to show me that, bro.
I can dig it, Divine. Can I say something real quick, big bro?
Okay, I'm almost done. Give me one more second. I'm almost done. You go next. I'm gonna let you go next. Mute your mic real quick. Okay, so you need to show me that that place had Judites. That number one, who did they sell? And number two, the people that they sell, where did they go? So that's the first question I'm going to propose to the panel. Now they're going to give their 5-minute intros, which is cool. And after they give their 5-minute intros, I want them to address that first question right there. And then they can expound later on. I'm going to give them a little bit more time after their intros for them to actually lay out the rest of their argument. So Brother Perry, you got the mic.
Right. You know, well, first and foremost, you know, I believe in the Bible. I take it literally, the whole thing as it is. You know, I want to say this. The people that write history and teach us what they teach us, it's a lot of things that they're not telling the people about. You know, there's a whole history, a whole wealth of knowledge on who was the original czars in Russia. You know, who's the original Germans. There's a book out there you can read, you know, called the Origins of the Anglo-Saxons. You know, that was written in 1903. Where in this book, you know, this is a white author. I forget his name. He's telling you straight up that these, you know, the original Germans, the original Anglo-Saxons, you know, were black people, right? And yet they don't teach us any of this. So, like, I mean, the Bible is just so on point with information and things like that, that it just can't be a coincidence, you know. And for the most part, me for one, I subscribe to the Apocrypha as well, and I'm of the belief that the northern tribes, or the 9 tribes, including Levi, because Levi would often go with, you know, both sets. I'm of the belief that they came to the Americas, and that the kingdom of Judah, which came out of the Babylonian captivity, and some of them settled back in the land, as far as them being dispersed, I believe that happened even around that time. They had started to be dispersed, you know, and it's all kind of evidences of that, you know, here and there. You know, if you're very particular about how you you know, sift through your histories and information and things like that. We know that for the most part, it was a handful of Israel living in the land of Jerusalem that was, basically a colony of Rome at that time, and that, even the governor, the governor at that time of Israel, his father was a Edomite, right? So we understand all that. They even had it set up that way. And when Israel or Jerusalem, finally fell, those people, some of them fled somewhere. And the ones that they captured, they brought back into Rome. Now, we know how disparagingly the rulership that we're under now write and talk about our people. They don't never give us our credit. Like I said earlier, they don't even talk about the fact that, we was ruling the whole Europe. They don't give us the whole correct history of that. They don't even give us the whole correct history on what was going on in Europe pre-Roman or so-called Greek, because, the original Greeks weren't the same people that Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was a Macedonian. Greeks was Hellenistics, or some people would say, Ionians or whatever. They don't even give you the proper information on that. When it comes to all of these things, you gotta dig real deep. And being a Bible believer, the Bible is my main barometer. That's what I use to get to the bottom of everything, to get to the truth of everything. Because the Bible is a very unbiased book. It's giving you the history on everything, different cultures. It don't go too deep into it, but and it's a very unbiased book. It's not painting Israel in a light that's favorable. Something that the Egyptians practice and something that white people practice today. So I'm pretty sure each and every one of you brothers that came across things here and there in history that lines up with the Bible, that makes you believe what you believe now, that you're pretty much an Israelite. As far as Negroes in America being Judah, a lot of the reasons why I believe that they are Judah is based off of the Bible and the fact that I know that Judah was the top tribe. And a lot of the characteristics that the Negroes display is the same characteristics that Judah would display. I know that the Bible says that the world has been flipped upside down. I know that white people are Edomites and that they was made to be the lowest of the low. That's the one race of people. When they would conquer another people, they wouldn't put their culture on that people. They would take that people's culture and put it on themselves. They did that with the Hellenistics or the so-called Greeks. Them being Macedonians, they didn't come and put their culture on the Greeks. They usurped the culture of the Greeks and put it on themselves. After the Persians and the Hellenistics had a war that made both sides weak, So and all of this is prophesied as well. So it's written that was going to happen. If you ask me what's prophesied that's happening today, I would tell you, well, according to Revelations, Babylon the Great would be America. Another name for Babylon the Great would be spiritual Egypt or Sodom and Gomorrah. I would show you and tell you how America fit the description to a T. So it's that's why, that's just like I would look at that way is one of the reasons why I would look at Judah being the Negroes that way as well.
All right, Perry. Thanks for that, Ak. I'm going to open up the mic later on and let you speak a little bit more. All right. I'm going to give the mic over to Nazi so that Nazi can do his intro. He got about 5-6 minutes to give his intro. and he can lay out his premise, and he can also try and address or answer the question I also put on the table. So you got the floor, Nazi.
Yo, shalom. Yo, I'm gonna keep it short and quick. First off is this. When I was on Facebook, I heard the brother say, the question he asked was, if the so-called African Americans, all so-called African Americans, whatever, are the true Jews, or if they are from the tribe of Judah. You know what I'm saying? That's the question I heard. Now, when I'm on here, I hear a completely different question. So basically, what I'm gonna do is this: I'm gonna answer the question to what you ask on here. And the question that you ask on here: do I believe, you know what I'm saying, that we have Jews over there, or Judah over there, which I believe is the Southern Kingdom? Do I believe that the Southern Kingdom, the Jews, are over there in the landmass that you were referring to? Absolutely. I know for a fact that you have Judah, the Southern Kingdom, over there in Africa or in the landmass that you're referring to. I highly agree with that because the scripture says it. So according to Isaiah 11:12, the Father says that Judah, the Southern Kingdom, will be spreaded to the four corners of the globe or of the earth. So when he speaks on that four corners, this means everywhere. And I know the Father word don't come back void. And I'm standing with that. And I'm standing with thus saith the Most High. I'm standing with thus saith that's written. And that's that. So that's all I got to say. According to your question, absolutely. We have some people that is of Judah, the Southern Kingdom, that's over there in that land. Because we every single where. It's no matter where, or whatever place you want to speak on. You have the Southern Kingdom there. Period. Because it is written in thus saith the Most High. So I'm standing with thus saith the Most High. With that being said, you can have the flow.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. I'm gonna mute your mic real quick. All right, so I appreciate the panelists giving their intros and speaking their mind.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Really? Hold on, let me disconnect Alexa. She bugging out. See this echo dot bugging out. All right, family. So the question I asked was, I wanted people to defend the fact that the so-called African American or blacks in America are exclusively from the tribe of Judah, and I wanted them to actually defend that position. I was gonna ask some questions, some critical questions that I wanted to see if they understood, and I wanted to see if they were able to explain. All right. So the first question I put on the table, I see that it wasn't addressed, and that's fine. The panelists, they can use their time and do whatever they want. But I want to ask the panelists another question. And these are just questions that I need clarity on so I can better understand this position, right? Now, the second question I want to ask, and I'm going to pose it to the panelists to they can get another 4 or 5 minutes to address it, is, were slaves imported from the Caribbeans, from Central and South America? Were slaves imported from there to the Americas prior to 1619? And if so, what tribe would those individuals be from? So I'm gonna open it up, Brother Perry. You got the floor. Please answer the question as you see fit.
Right. Well, for the most part, we know that slavery started, for the most part, here in America. The real hardcore slavery that was prophesied to happen, it started in the 1600s. So it probably was certain instances of slavery going on where you could call it that. It was definitely massacres and slaughter and lawlessness going on. But I would say no, it didn't start prior to that. As far as what was the other question you asked real quick?
Yeah, so I was asking, were slaves imported from the West Indies, Central America, and South America before 1619? And if
Right,
so,
right. And I answered that.
Yeah, you answered
right.
that.
And you said what tribe? I would say that they was mainly from the tribe of Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. You know, because those were the tribes that was in Jerusalem at that time. You know, according to the Apocrypha. You know, for the most part, and like the brother said earlier, you know, we're scattered everywhere. So yeah, you'll find all kind of tribes everywhere. But when you're looking at it from the position of, like, when you're looking at it from the point of where are the bulk of most of these people at, I would say that the bulk of the people that was being brought here were Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. And I would say, according to the characteristics that Negroes display today, that they would be Judah, you know, according, you know, to the Bible. And I would see Benjamin as being the West Indians, and I would definitely see the Haitians as being Levi for the most part. So yeah, I would say that the bulk of those people that was being brought here, you know, were Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. I think that the other tribes were already here. They were, you know, they came here on their own, and they went into slavery as well. You know, white people massacred them and eventually enslaved them, and, you know, did what they wanted to do to them. The exact atrocities that we were going through, they were going through at the same time, even, you know. And I think those two people display a lot of the same characteristics and fit a lot of the prophecies concerning the Israelites as well.
All right. All right. Appreciate that. All right, Nazi, you got the floor. So the question is, prior to 1619, were slaves imported from the Caribbean, Central America, and South America? And if so, what tribe were those slaves from? Can't hear you, Ak. Unmute your mic, Ak.
Once again, I go with what's written in the book. What's written in the book, it clearly says, the children of Judah shall be gathered from the four corners of the earth. So, well, what the book says, it clearly says that we are in the four corners of the globe, period. So my question to you, or your platform, my question to you is, show me in the scriptures where the children of Judah or the southern kingdom wasn't scattered to the four corners of the globe. Closing out.
All right, I appreciate that. All right, so the brother asked me a question. Even though I was putting the people who subscribe to the position of Judah being exclusively African Americans on trial. He asked me a question, and I'm game. I answer it, and he told me to show him where Judah has not been scattered to the four corners of the earth. Now, I never said that Judah was not scattered. I never said that. What I'm asking is, how can we posit that African Americans are exclusively from the tribe of Judah, when if we're reading the prophecies that the brother explained, like Deuteronomy chapter 28, when people use 68 as a means of prophecy to saying that, you know, the Israelites will go into captivity by ships into the house of bondage, which they call Mizraim, that speech was not given to just Judah. It was given to the entire nation of Israel, all the tribes at that point in time, which means that these tribes would also be scattered into the four corners of the earth. But the issue is on the table, how can we say that African Americans are exclusively from the tribe of Judah? For those who are adherents to the 12 tribes chart and those who are not adherents to the 12 tribes chart, that are saying, hey, we don't deal with that chart, we don't deal with camps, but they still claim to be Judah. The question is, how can you validate that African Americans in America are exclusively from Judah? Now, if we want to use something, let's say we want to use Genesis or Bereshit chapter 49, and we want to go through the various attributes that we definitely link to certain individuals or groups of individuals that are scattered over here on the Western Hemisphere. The issue is a lot of brothers use 1619 as one of the first dates in which slaves got brought over here to America. Remember, there was only like 1.8 million slaves that was brought to North America. The rest of them were mostly brought to Brazil, to the West Indies, and other parts of Central America, okay? So if 1.8 million came over here to the Americas, the question is, where did they come from? If they came over from Americas, where was they getting shipped from? Were they getting shipped from the same location in West Africa and made their way over here to the Americas, and then some made their way to North America, and then other ones came after that, after 619, and started making their way over here to North America? The question is, how can we say that the distribution of slaves in America, what we call the United States, and at that time was the colonies, and then it stretched over and went west, how are we making a bold claim that African Americans are from the tribe of Judah? So the questions I asked was, people use the map, right? And they say that Oweda, right, which is in the Bight of Benin, which was a slave, the slave coast, part of the slave coast. We have a slave port that was there, and slaves were being traded there. There was various prisoners of war doing various tribal wars and battles that was going on, and individuals were brought there to the slave port, and they were shipped out that slave port. We say that that is the kingdom of Judah. That's what is being taught, that area is the kingdom of Judah. And I'm saying if that area is the kingdom of Judah, the people that are there, they practice voodoo. Voodoo was what the indigenous practice was with those peoples who was there by the slave coast that shipped those people into slavery. That's what they practiced there, right? So what I'm saying is practicing voodoo, having a kingdom that was there, and I'm gonna read some stuff since I have about another 2 minutes. I'm gonna read some things for reference, so that way we can see who those individuals were that were there. Then the next question I have to ask is, from any of the West African tribes that actually claim to have a lineage from West Africa, whether we say it's authentic or not, the fact that there's claims of communities that are already still there that speak whether they're from Israel, right, and claim to be Israelites. Do any of them claim to be from the tribe of Judah? And if so, which West African tribe, subclan, etc., is making this claim? So let's look up something real quick, and I'm gonna pose another question to the panelists. If they want to answer, they can. If they want to build with something else, that I have no problem with that. So let's look at some things real quick. I'm gonna share my screen 1 second. All right, we're gonna read this real quick. All right. All right. All right, so we're gonna read this here. This is from the pbs.org site, right? Wonders Episodes Epi 3 Oweda.hcm. All right, Oweda slave port, right? Oweda was a densely populated, prosperous kingdom located on the slave coast of West Africa in what is now Benin or Benin. It rose to prominence as an exporter of slaves in the late 17th century and flourished for about 60 years before falling to the inland kingdom of Dahomey in 1727. Before the 7th century, the Aja peoples, pay attention so we know who these peoples are, who populated the region of Oweda and that of its inland predecessor, the kingdom of Alada, had not developed a commercial or maritime tradition and supported themselves with lagoon fishing, agriculture, and hunting. Increased competition for trade along the West African coast by the French, English, Dutch, and Portuguese from the second half of the 16th century on gradually reoriented the people of the slave coast towards the sea and the Atlantic trade. In the 1650s, Oweda started breaking away from Alada and establishing itself as a powerful polity of warriors, slavers, and traders. In 1671, the French moved their trading factory from Alada to Oweda, and the English and Portuguese were soon to follow. At the height of its commercial prosperity in the first 2 decades of the 18th century, Oweda controlled the export of between 15 and 20,000 slaves a year. Okay, neighboring Dahomey's wars of conquest stretched southward to the coastal region in the 1720s, disrupting trade and blocking trade routes from the interior. After Dahomey conquered and pacified Oweda in 1727-1728, the Dahomeyan king appointed bureaucratic officials to administer Oweda as the principal port and commercial capital of the kingdom. For over a century more, Oweda remained a center of the Atlantic slave trade under the patronage of the kings of Dahomey. The abolition of the Brazilian slave trade in 1851 and the installation of a British consul in Lagos rang the death knell of the Atlantic slave trade, and by 1865, palm oil had entirely replaced slaves in Owia's export market, right? And this is from by Zade Antrim, okay? Now, the reason why I'm reading that is because I want to be able to demonstrate that if the individuals that were there, and while I'm speaking, I'm going to show one more thing. If the individuals that were there were Israelites, if we say they were Israelites, do we have any historical accounts from any traveler that was there, whether it was a colonialist, whether it was an Arab trader, that traveled in the Bight of Benin and identified who they would call, as a misnomer, Jews in that region? And if this is the tribe of Judah, who are they selling and where are these slaves going? Because this is something that we teach in our community, and we have to address this thing. We really have to address this thing. So I'm saying if we, matter of fact, the brothers on the panel, I know both of them have these two books that I just showed y'all. If they can show me a reference in one of these books showing that in the Bight of Benin, that the kingdom of Judah, who they say is the kingdom of Judah, Wida, if those individuals are from Judah and they were shipped from there over here to North America from 1619 onwards, I just want them to show me something that validates that. That's all I'm asking. So if they can't do it right now, that's fine. They may not have been equipped to have this type of discussion, and that's okay. But if they can address that for me, please do. And the follow-up question would be what I asked: the slaves that was being imported to North America before 1619, what tribe are they from? I'm hearing that they're a mixture of Levi, Benjamin, and Judah, which means that everybody that was here, then that means that those slaves were not from the tribe of Judah. And the last thing that I want to say is, how can we know? Is there a prophecy that tells us that Judah would be exclusively distributed to North America? If you can show me that, because a lot of people will use the Apocrypha and they would say that the northern tribes traveled here to North America, and a lot of them were the indigenous peoples here. I want to know, is there any kind of prophecy that will tell us that there was a specific distribution of the tribe of Judah that was sent here to North America after 1619, and that these were the individuals settled here, that they would be the fulfillment of prophecy that we see in the scripture? So if they want to answer any one of those three questions, they can. If they don't want to answer those questions, that's fine. If they want to build and say something else, I'm okay with that. But if they have a reference or two that they may know off the top of their head, or they may have in front of them, please share it with us so we can validate this prophecy. So my brother Perry, you have the floor.
Right. Well, you know, bro, like at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you know, you had the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in Jerusalem for the most part. When Rome conquered Jerusalem after the siege, a lot of them fled to Africa. You know, the brother in Babylon, the Timbuktu, he goes into that, and there's other evidences of that. As far as what they have recorded, and the paragraph that you showed, and that's a fraction on what really went down. That, if you ask me, a lot of that information, they not quick to put that out. Like I said earlier, it's icons and all kind of things that you can find in Europe that they won't explain, let alone Black people being the true Israelites that fled to Africa. At the end of the day, as an Israelite, all we saying is, according to this Bible and according to the history of this Bible, the people that fit that description is, without a shadow of a doubt, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. They fit the prophecies, everything. And when you want to pinpoint what tribe is what tribe, to say that Negroes is exclusively Judah, I wouldn't say that. But to say that Negroes is Judah for the most part, I would say that. Once you understand this Bible and you see how the prophecies and all these things spiritually, as well as using archaeology and history and things like that, how it lines up with these people, yeah, it's without a shadow of a doubt. You know, you go into the scripture.
My brother Perry, I don't mean to cut you off, but do you have the Bible in front of you?
Yeah, I got the Bible in front of me.
Can you elaborate on Genesis 49 for us and show us how that exclusively fits the so-called African Americans here, and how that prophecy only pertains to us, if you don't mind?
Right. Well, you know, when you go into Genesis chapter 49, verse 8, it says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow before thee. So that's letting you know that in the times we living in now, you know, when you look at all the different 12 tribes, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the West Indians, for the most part, the Haitians, for the most part, you know, these different tribes, Gad, all of them. Judah is the one that has been at the forefront, meaning the so-called Negroes. If it wasn't for the Negroes, none of these tribes or even the people in the world, for the most part, would even be able to come to America. You know, it was a time in America where everything was just black and white. The other people didn't want to come here. It wasn't no, you know, they would have hung them from a lamppost. They would have killed them too. It was Judah that fought for that. It was the Negroes that fought for that. It was the Negroes that was at the forefront of all of that. You know, when you look at inventions, there's a book out there called The 1001 Inventions of a Black Man. That's mostly the Negroes in there. When you look at the most boxing champions over the last 100 years, it's mostly Negroes in there. You know, anything great dealing with music, you know, whether it's physical, music, inventions, it's the Negroes that's at the forefront. You know, so, I mean, when you're reading this scripture, you know, Genesis chapter 49, you know, it shows you how Judah would always be at the forefront. That's the whole point of scripture. It says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? So it's you know, that's pretty much what happened with Judah in the 60s and in the early 70s. You know, Judah or the Negroes, they had the opportunity to actually do some major damage here in America. It kind of goes back to it saying that thy hand shall be at the neck of thy enemies. You know, like Judah or the so-called Negroes, when it comes to America, and as far as the power that they really wield, they come up to the neck of the enemy. They come right there. They got the children of the enemy copying their slang, dressing like them, acting like them. That's and I'm not taking nothing from the other tribes, but the Negroes has always been at the forefront of all of that. Then it goes on to say, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shalom come, which means peace, you know, until the end. Meaning Judah is always gonna outshine his brothers. It is what it is. Like, he's the top tribe. And then it says, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So anytime something goes down when it's dealing with minorities, and you know, for the most part, that's always Negroes, West Indians, and Latinos and Native American Indians. It's always us. We're the ones that went through the atrocity that started around 1619 that make us fit the prophecies of being Israelites. That fits us. And when you look at all of these different people, yes, they dominate everything. They dominate music. They dominate boxing. They are the major inventors of the world. You know, these are the people at the, you know, but again, at the same time, they're on the bottom, which no one can explain. But when you look at these people, the West Indians, the Haitians, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, who overwhelmingly, the majority of these people are dark. When you look at them and you pinpoint, okay, well, out of these groups of people, who shines the most? It's the Negroes. It's the Negroes. No one even comes close. So why wouldn't they be Judah? You know? And then it says, binding his foal onto the vine, and his ass's coal onto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. You know, so I mean, it's basically the key words in that scripture is the fact that it lets you know that, you know, Judah shall always be the head tribe. You know, and the Bible is very clear about that. I mean, to the point where when you talk about Jacob.
All right, you got 30 seconds, Perry.
Right. When you talk about Jacob, you're basically talking about Israel and Judah. And Judah, you know, gets that much shine in the Bible. You know, I'm good.
All right, appreciate that. All right, my brother Nazi, you have the floor now. You can speak freely. Go in. All right. Got the floor, Nazi.
Yo, what's good with it? First off, I'm gonna say this, man. Genesis 49, it don't give no locations. Geographical locations. The only geographical location I give is Zebulon. Zebulon clearly is in the so-called Middle East. Period. The location that Zebulon dwells in, so-called, and agree with the brother that was just speaking, all that stuff to me is camp doctrine. I don't rock with camp doctrine. I'm set apart. Period. I rock with according to the context of the scripture that the Father even said that there's no new thing under the sun. Period. So once again, according to the scriptures that I can prove, according to Isaiah chapter 11 and 12, and also other scriptures, the children of Judah, which is the southern kingdom, was spread into the four corners of the globe. Period. Now, what causes people to fall off is this. Many people choose to deal with historical evidence or historical archaeology and all this other stuff, right? But the thing about it is this. One thing I don't do is this. If I'm digging in any history, that history have to line up with have to line up with the Bible. Period. If it don't line up with the Bible, I don't rock with it. It's garbage to me. Period. You can rock with the Bible, but one thing about Nazi is this. You're gonna have to show me. You're gonna have to show me. And according to thus saith the Most High. And you're not going to be able to do that because a lot of people is leaning on history or agenda and the knowledge than thus saith the Most High. So with that being said, I'm cutting it short, man. Genesis 49 has nothing to do with no location, geographical locations or nothing. It's only Zebulon. When you deal with Zebulon, you clearly see Zebulon is in the so-called Middle East. Period, man. And according to the scriptures, you clearly see the northern kingdom is in the so-called Middle East or Africa and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. According to the scriptures in Isaiah 11:11. So with that being said, I'm cutting it short. I don't need all that time to talk. All that camp doctrine and they add to the scripture of locations and this stuff being America, they can't prove that's garbage. So with that being said, go ahead, Ron. Add the flow.
All right, Nazi, my brother, I appreciate that. So I want to thank the panelists for addressing those things, and I'm gonna give them one last round. But I want to put some information on the table first before I do so. All right. First, I want to show you guys. A book. All right. Let me go to a book real quick. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. and through the Atlantic slave trade and the transmission of African religious traditions to the Americas, once the modern touristic slogan of Benin, and more particularly Ouida, as the cradle of Voodoo. But it is also a claim to local religious primacy in Africa. European observers in the pre-colonial period, in apparent congruence with local tradition, also frequently stressed the strongly religious character of life in Ouida. What they referred to most often was a large number of publicly visible idols and fetishes. Now, this is what I tell people all the time. If you want to know what these West African tribes practice pre-colonial, you have to look at the Europeans that went there to survey, to live amongst the people, to survey their practices, their fetishes, their ways of worship, etc. Because all they was there to do was observe and document it in their journal. The converters, the people who was proselytizing, came later on. All right. And this is very important. That's why a lot of those books that I read it to get a survey of what those people practice as a firsthand account that was witnessed by those colonialists. Okay. It says in Ouida Kingdom in the 1680s, Barbault observed an infinite number of fetishes placed in special places on the roads, made of wood or clay and shaped like puppets. And this was echoed in many subsequent accounts of Dahomean Ouida. The clay figures, which were commonly placed outside houses and at the entrance of the town, were the Voodoo Legba. Legba was a trickster god held responsible for misfortune and consequently worshipped to secure good luck. A similar voodoo called Izon presided over the Zobe market. The wooden images were those called Bokayo, I think Bosayo, excuse me, which were also protective in character, provide insurance against evil magic, etc., etc. But when you read it, you'll be able to see everything they said. They said Europeans also noted the ancestral cults practice in individual homes, etc. You want to get this and read it because you want to see who were the people that were there, who was captured and traded in the slave trade, where did those individuals go, what the culture of those people were, and you have to compare it to anything you see in the scriptures, all right, to see if you see fingerprints of the scriptures that is on these people here. Let me show you another reference real quick. All right, so give me a second. Let me send you another reference real quick. All right, here's another reference. We got two more. I'm gonna open it back up to the panel. All right. So here, this is from a book. Hold on, let me hide this. This is from a book. Let's go back to the beginning. This is from a book called Traditions and Customs of Gandagmes of Ghana, Descendants of Authentic Biblical Israelites by Joseph Ni Abekar Mensa, PhD. And then we scroll here to page 17. It says, it goes into the scriptures here. It says Genesis 15, Acts 7:6, the Lord told Abraham that he shall scatter the descendants of Abraham from one quarter of the earth to another. It says Elohim also repeated his divine promise to scatter the nation of Israel in Deuteronomy 28:64. Also, historians agree that in the 6th century, the Assyrians sacked the nation of Israel, resulted in the scattering of Israel. Elohim's promise to scatter his people, the nation of Israel, came to pass when the Assyrians attacked Israel in the 6th century BCE. 10 out of 12 tribes of Israel went into exile. Let's keep reading. Those 10 tribes of the nation of Israel were exiled and became scattered among many nations and among many tribes of Elohim, tribes as Elohim had promised would happen. Only the tribes of Benjamin and Judah were left behind. It would seem that nothing can probably alter the minds of those who do not believe in the scripture or refuse to believe that the scattering of the Hebrew Israelites did occur, despite evidence of biblical prophecies and historical evidence. It is not the intention of the writer to convince those skeptics, but to share knowledge, and those skeptics have every right to critique or question historical evidence. Thus, we seem to be at a point where it may be helpful if the oral history tradition of God-dogmate people and supported by biblical history and some biblical scholars are further supported many people who said they're from Israel, and I'm gonna show you a video. Let me show you a video. Let me show you a video real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna show you a video.
Hold on, Divine. I wanted to speak on that real quick though. I just real fast, like 2 seconds, big bro. Like the problem I see with that, it's not a big problem, but you know, I wish you'd have kept it up real quick. But it said 10 tribes only. It said only Judah and Benjamin was left behind. You know, that's false. It was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You know, and then it said that they were scattered amongst many nations. Well,
wait, give me 1 second, Ak. Let me pull it up for you. Hold on, let me pull it up for you again.
No, you ain't gotta pull it up. I remember it. It's cool.
Okay.
But the problem that I had with that passage, it said that only Judah and Benjamin was left behind. You know, according to the Bible, Levi was left behind as well. Like I said,
that was during the Assyrian siege.
No, I understand. When the king, that was during the time when King Salmanasar took over, right? He conquered Israel and deported them out of the land, and then they put Cushites into the land and replaced them. I know about that. What I'm saying is the problem I had with the passage is it said Benjamin, Judah was only left, where Levi was also left behind as well. Levi was mingled with Judah and Ben. They was there too with Judah and Benjamin. And then it puts more emphasis on the fact that it says that then they went and mingled with other people. No, for the most part, they was brought to Assyria. Now, according to the Bible, they left Assyria and came to the Americas. They went to a place. It took them a year and a half to get there. And God had to calm the oceans and things like that for them to make it to that land. And they called that land Azarah. Now, there's a book you can get called Hebrews or Israelites in the Americas. And it shows you the amount of information that they have on these people being the Israelites, as well as accounts from Spaniards and this, that, and the third, you know. So we have a lot of, you know, outside sources that back the Bible up for the most part. You know, you give me a little bit of time, I can, you know, gather that information.
Yeah, no problem. We're going to be on here maybe another 45 minutes or so. So you have time. But what I want to do is I want to show another reference, right? So that people can see it. All right, I'm going to play this real quick. Now, this is the video that's on my channel that I created under the inspiration of my brother, JC Melchizedek. Okay, he inspired me to do this video. All right, so I'm gonna play it for y'all. So just watch. It was only like 3.5 minutes. Just watch. And remember, family, we just talked about the God Dagme peoples, right? So I'm gonna show you them right here so you can see where did they said that they came from. And now when you go to investigate them further, to trace them back to what tribe, we just saw what that book said that they came from, okay? So let's listen, family.
As we say, it's where we, the Ghana people, we're looking at getting closer to our forefathers. I mean, by invoking them, we invite them to also come and enjoy whatever food we have prepared. Everybody as a Ghana, wherever he or she is residing, will come to his or her family house. We have certain houses where their prerogative is that they have to cook, because the chief will come there, take some of the food, and go and sprinkle. It's like a
now, family, look what she's saying, family. Read what she's saying.
No, ever to homo
the migration story of the people of their young days was that almost all the ethnic groups in Ghana migrated from somewhere before the early, let's say, 15th century.
Okay.
Our history goes deeper. In fact, the ancient Ghana Empire that even inspired our first president to take the name Ghana was a vast territory. It engulfs almost the whole of the sub-Saharan western part of Africa, right after the desert. That shows you how vast the indigenous people have traveled all the way before they come and settle here. So the different tribes, the different ethnic groups within the Greater Accra got these differences through the migration patterns they used before they arrived here in the place we call Accra. The Adangbe's and the people of the Gans, the people who speak Ga, the Adangbe speak a different dialect known as the Dangbe. The Dangbe is like a sister country to the Ga language. And they've written book and they have a history, especially the indigenous people of here have a direct history of migration through Israel. In fact, our festivals we are going to celebrate somewhere in August. It's celebrated, known as Homowo. We call it the Futina Hanga. It's about some of the history of while they were migrating to this present stage they call La or Greater Accra. They encountered a lot of hunger. They made a walk. They transited through Nigeria all the way from Israeli-Palestine border, migrated all the way before they came to settle here. So I'm just telling you this to know how far we came from before we arrived here. So it tells you we have a huge history.
All right, family. So if you see this here, the God Dagme of Ghana, it tells you the God Dagme to be the descendant of the Israeli tribes of Gad and Dan. And if so, no wonder that they're on their way to Ghana. They pass through Nigeria with the Igbo, who are predominantly descendants of Gad, which they say, but has among them other tribes of Israel, such as Dan. And look what they say, family. They say Judah, Levi, Zebulon, etc. So the God Dagme's oral history states that they came from Israel about or around what? The 6th century BC. Now, what's interesting is when they mention these other tribes such as Judah and Levi, the interesting thing is they never trace you to a specific tribe who claims that they're from Judah or Levi. And the reason why we see that is because the individuals who are helping to collect this history want to tie themselves to Second Temple Judaism simply because Zebulon, Dan, Gad, etc. were the heathenistic northern tribes that the Most High was so angry with. Now watch this. I'm almost done. I'm gonna give it to Nazi and let Nazi speak his part, right? You can also go down here, look at the God Dagme name of words and the Hebrew name of words and see a lot of the comparisons between them, right? But watch this. Let me abdicate this and I'm gonna give the floor over to Nazi and let him speak. I want you guys to look at my screen real quick because I want to show you something, right? So in this book here, it says from Babylon to Timbuktu, right? Before I show this real quick, family in the chat, I want you to please hit 1 if the audio and visual is working properly. Hit 1 if the audio and visual is working properly. All right, hit 1, family, because some people saying it's chopping up. Hit 1. I know the video is choppy. That's normal, right? For the video to show up choppy. But if I'm coming in clear, hit 1. Hit 1 if I'm coming in clear. All right, I see some ones. All right, let me go. All right. So in the book from Babylon to Timbuktu, if you go to page 92, right? Page 92 is on Eldad the Danite, okay? Or Hadani the Danite, right? And it says in the 9th century CE, pay attention to the time period. 9th century ED, a black African Hebrew arrived in the city of Kairouan in Algeria, right? And this city was one of the famous Talmudic schools. The name of this Hebrew was Eldad Hadani. He told a credible story of the Hebrew Empire south of the Sahara in the Western Sudan. According to Eldad the Danite, the Hebrews in the interior of Africa spoke a Phoenician Hebraic language mixed with Arabic. And it says they had a religion which had come down from Moshe and a Hebrew emperor. It says it was believed that the emperor was the name of Tolotan or Bulletin. Eldad said that the people of this tribe had fled from the kingdom of Israel after Sennacherib, the Assyrian, had subdued it, and that the other Israelite tribes such as Naphtali, Gad, and Asher were in the land from which he came. he told the laws of Moshe, which they followed, the complete series of the scriptures, except Esther and Lamentations. He did not speak of the legal works that were produced in Babylon and Palestine after the destruction of the first temple, of which the Algerian Jews had knowledge. These extraordinary works were the Mishnah and the Talmud. Eldad displayed it as evidence, some ceremony pertaining to the slaughtering of animals for food. It was written in Hebrew with an Arabic tinge, but Eldad claimed that he knew no other language than Hebrew. In regard to Eldad's story, the Gaon, head of the Jews, assured the people that the story was credible, and it gives a source citation from that, okay? Now, I'm about to yield the floor, but the point that I'm trying to make is that we can at least, from oral tradition, whether people say if they don't believe it or not, but at least from oral tradition from the people themselves, the God-dominating peoples, the God peoples that speak the God-dominating language, and it was distinct from them sister tribes, they come out and they say that they migrated from Israel. And when you go in further and investigate them, they tell you what tribe that they're from. So now we have Ghana, which we know that at one point was controlled by the British. We know that Ghana, that had a tribe there, not all the tribes, but had tribes there that actually claimed to have migrated from Israel and claimed to be from a specific tribe. They never mentioned Judah. Now, like I said, I showed you a source where Judah and Levi is mentioned, but that is not tied to anybody who lives in that area, who, like we just saw the video, who lives in that area that's coming out saying that, yes, we are from Judah and Levi, because when you look at Eldad Hadani's testimony, he'll tell you that the Gad that lived there, they didn't know anything about the Talmud. They didn't know anything about the Mishnah, the Gemara, the halakhic laws, anything that would be connected to the Second Temple, they were unaware of. Because when he went to North Africa and Algeria and he told this story, he was saying, man, and mind you, these North Africans in the 9th century who claimed to be Jews, Yehudi, Israelites, they already knew the Talmud, the Mishnah, all these things. And they would have known this if they had left in 70 AD, 135 AD, and later on in 4th century and migrated in North Africa and settled in various cities there. They would have known these things because it would have been customary and common to them. But those south of the Sahara and West Sudan, they were not aware of these things, which goes to show that they were a time capsule that was preserving a Pacific culture, being that there were specific tribes, and they migrated there and settled in West Africa and brought this ancient pre-Israelite culture with them, and they would have not been known anything of the Talmud, Mishnah, halakhic laws, etc., that anybody who left from out of that has said, and I appreciate the brother for being patient. He has the floor. You have the floor, Brother Nazi.
All right, first off is this. First off, I want to say is this. According to the scriptures, the northern kingdom is in Africa and all throughout the so-called Middle East, according to scriptures, according to Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11, and also Acts chapter 2, verse 4 through Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4, through about 13 or 10. It speaks about, the northern kingdom or the northern tribes, in the so-called the Africa and the Middle East, so-called Middle East. So we also deal with the Apocrypha as well that a lot of camps use, 2nd Ezra 13 and stuff. You know what I'm saying? When we deal with 2nd Ezra 13, 45 or whatever they run to, 40 or whatever they run to try to prove that came to America. First off, America has nothing to do with the New World and all that other garbage that they speaking. Kill that lie off top. You know what I'm saying? America is nowhere mentioned in 2nd Ezra 13:40 or 39 through 45. It's not mentioned there at all. New World and all the other stuff is garbage, all lies. You know what I'm saying? When you deal with Arsarif, you see Arsarif is Turkey. You see Arsarif is the same area where Noah's Ark landed. You know what I'm saying? According to Genesis, when Noah built this ark, you know what I'm saying? All this stuff goes back to Arat. You know what I'm saying? Ararat. according to the King James Bible. You can see it on the side notes and everything else when you do your research on Ararat or Arsarith. You see, according to the Hebrew, it's Ararat or Ararat. You know what I'm saying? You can see this stuff in clearly as day. You see the Northern Kingdom after they came out of the Syrian captivity. You seen them boys migrated over to Africa, migrated over to Turkey, migrated over into that area as well. The Northern Kingdom. Now, once again, brothers is constantly dealing with history that don't line up with the Bible. So when we deal with according to the book and what the book say, according to thus saith the Most High, not what the white man say, not what all these history books or whatever this garbage people running into. I rock with thus saith the Most High. According to thus saith the Most High, you had the Northern Kingdom over there in Africa and Northern Kingdom over there in so-called Middle East. Then you also had Judah, the Southern Kingdom, Benjamin, Haitian, Levi, whatever you call it. The three tribes was migrated and spread it to the four corners of the globe according to the prophecy of the Most High. Period. And that's according to Isaiah 11 and 12. Period. So when brothers are dealing with all these, I mean, brothers can read 30 pages. You know what I'm saying? Brothers can read 30 books. My thing is this: I have not yet seen a brother deal with thus saith the Most High, brother, prove anything they saying from the scriptures. Period. The Bible says precept must be upon precept. The Bible says 2 to 3 witnesses. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen a brother do none of that yet. All I see is brothers running into all these books, these white man books and all this other garbage to try to prove their history. Show me what the books say according to the northern tribes and the northern kingdoms, the Northern Kingdom, and also the Southern Kingdom, where they went to or where they was migrated to. Because according to thus saith the Most High, it clearly shows that Judah, the Southern Kingdom, was spreaded throughout the four corners of the earth. And we are Negroid descended, period. Have we mixed? Absolutely. We show the mixtures and all that stuff all through the book. But once again, the scriptures and the geographical, they want to ignore geographical locations and what the book says, because the book says what it says. And when you dig into all that other history stuff, all you do is water down what the book says. So show me according to the book where the northern tribes and the Southern Kingdom was migrated to after the captivities. You know what I'm saying? And when Hamashiach came, Hamashiach clearly showed, and the disciples, the 12 disciples, it clearly shows where they went to, lost sheep, because they clearly came to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So one thing is that brothers can't sit up there and try to deny that and belittle what was written in the book, because the second coming gathered from the four corners of the earth, according to thus saith the Most High. Not that garbage history and all that other stuff that don't line up with the book. According to the Most High and his word, corners of the earth. Period. And once again, Nasi stand with thus saith the Most High, and that's it. If the history don't line up with the book, I don't rock with it. Shalom.
All right. I appreciate that, Brother Nazi. Thank you for coming in strong and posting your position. I think what he was proposing was that my position is not centered in the scriptures to showcase where Judah was dispersed. Now, I could definitely get into some scriptures talking about being scattered, but the most important thing is if Israel was scattered, and I'm going based on a lot of the scholarship that we use in our community in regards to identifying where they were scattered, in order for us to make or come to the conclusion that Israelites were then transported over here to the Americas, right? We have to be able to see and follow migrations to see where did they go once they entered into Africa. And this is what I'm looking at: the oral traditions, the migration paths that they would have taken, whether it's the trans-Saharan or sub-Saharan routes, etc. So from the text, we're going to get that they were scattered, but we had to do additional research to see where they were scattered, and from where they were scattered, where they was taken to ultimately where they ended up at. How did the dispersal happen? How did they get excommunicated from where they was at and where they were staying at for almost 2,000 plus years before they got transferred elsewhere. And the reason why I bring this up is because if Israel got scattered into Africa, and we're saying that they migrated to West Africa, and they were there way longer than they were in the land of Israel, way longer than they was in Egypt put together. They was in West Africa longer. If they were there for all of these years, I'm talking about thousands of years they were there, the question would be, was there an admixture between them and the indigenous people there? And if so, was there an acculturation of customs and practices, right? And I say this because if these things persisted in these regions that were surveyed, like I told you, by these intel, these surveyors, these Renaissance Europeans, pre-colonial, before colonialism hit, when they went in there to examine these areas, and they spoke of the traditions of what they call the fetishes of what these West African tribes were doing, they were noting that there were a lot of customs that they were practicing that when they inquired further, that they cannot tell where the origin of some of these practices were, that the missionaries or some of the European travelers actually saw very eerily similar to the things they were reading in their Bible. And they saw a lot of things in their Bible and said, man, a lot of these practices that they're doing, some of them are similar to what we see in the Bible. And when they inquired further about them, a lot of these practices, they were not able to give an origin as to where it came from. Now, does that automatically mean that they brought it from Israel to that location? We can't say that with 1,000% certainty, but what we can say is that we can show migrations to West Africa and that there was an admixture that occurred in that region where the Israelite bloodline was then entered into the locals that were there. Some of the locals that were there, some may have been isolates, but some also that was mingling there. There was always an admixture of these things that were occurring in that region. And as a result of this, certain identities were taken on, certain concepts were swapped with certain words and other cultures and other tribes, etc. What I want to do is be able to look at the provenance of these origins from the historical records that we have, whether it's contemporary records or whether it's records that go back to the 4th, 15th century AD, and be able to see what happened, what took place. And this is a very honest dispersal. Israelites that are there in Elephantine Island. And these Israelites that were there had issues because they wanted to build a temple to Yod-Heh-Wav, and they were being opposed by the local or the native Egyptians that were there. These individuals there, they spoke of a council. They always said Elohim in regards to a council, where the people who translated this text was like, man, these are people from the northern tribes because they're speaking about a council or a henotheistic element of deities that they were subscribing to or that they acknowledged, and that they were actually writing when they was given their blessings. And you'll see this is very interesting when you look at some pottery shards, Kerbet El Korn, one for example. You see where a blessing is given, and that blessing is given from Yod-Heh-Wav. From Yod-Heh-Wav, the blessing is given to Asherah as well. They're speaking of a council in regards to the Elohim, and that particular ideology was reserved mostly by the northern tribes, and when they scattered, they brought it with them. When the Israelites was returning back to the land after their Babylonian captivity and Persian captivity, now we have a transition of some sorts where we see the emergence of monotheism, which more than likely could have came out of a result of being adjacent to the Zoroastrian culture that were there, and their precepts and their understandings of how they envisioned the world from their worldview. So now we're looking at where Israelites were settled, where they migrated to, and then now we look at trade routes that move from along the Nile to sub-Saharan Africa, right? Or we say West Sudan, and these individuals bringing these things with them as they are migrating. So the objective is, once we see the dispersal, we don't see anything specifically in the scriptures that tell us where in Africa, aside from Kemet and maybe when we go to the lower, all the way down further south, going towards the cataract that borders Nubia with the Elephantine Island, which is one of the lowest cataracts there on the border between Sudan and Egypt. Aside from that, we don't really have a lot of testimony stating where these tribes were scattered to. Yes, they were scattered to the four corners of the earth, but where? So that is where we have to pick up the research and the inquiry and the investigation to see where did they go, and after they went where they went, how did they end up in other areas of the earth? If they did locate there, and if so, which tribes? This is very, very important. So that's the last thing I'm gonna say on this, because I know it's getting late. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do part 2 tomorrow, because I know some people are saying that the video is choppy and they didn't hear a lot of references and stuff like that. I understand that. I apologize to that family. I'm trying to make sure that the quality is much better tomorrow and do what I can to do so. But I'm gonna close out here because I don't want to prolong this any further. But what I want to do is I'm going to give the panelists another 2 minutes just to give their final thoughts. And once they give their final thoughts, we're going to close out. And again, a lot of stuff I'm reserving. That's why I'm trying to be very particular on what I say, because I'm reserving this for my upcoming presentation where I will give references to verify what I'm saying. And what I will show today was just play around references, but real solid references in order to validate everything I say, starting first with the scripture, and from the scripture launching into history that is extra biblical. So my brother Warrior Hebrew, Perry, I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. You go ahead and just give.
Yeah, he kind of chopping up a little bit. I'll wait for that. Hello? Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, I didn't want.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can see.
All right, let me just repeat what I said real quick, and I'm gonna give you the floor back, Perry. I don't know, log me back in, but I'm gonna repeat what I said real quick. So I'm not sure how much y'all heard, but what I was saying, mute your mic real quick, Perry. I'll mute you in a second. All right. So what I was saying was I was explaining how I'm being particular on certain things that I'm saying because I don't want it to interfere with my upcoming presentation. What I showed tonight was just some play references from just off the dome. But when I do the actual presentation, I'm going to give source citations to everything that I just, or most of the claims that I made on tonight. Okay. So we can verify that we can use the scriptures as a source, but once the scriptures end, we have to pick up the rest of the story and look at other anthropological evidences in order for us to discover where these tribes were dispersed at, where they settled, where they migrated further, where they was taken to wherever areas they was taken, and we got to do this further investigation. So that's why I'm actually just building at that level first, so that way the claims that I'm making that I made earlier, I will be able to verify. And again, I apologize for the audio visual. Tomorrow, I'm gonna try to make sure it's much better. I'm gonna try to repeat some of the things that I said on tonight, so that way you guys hear it more clearly. But again, if y'all can hear me, press 1. If y'all can see me, press 1. If you can't, then I understand. Don't worry about it. But Perry, if you can hear me, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to close out.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, man, thanks for having me on the show. You know, appreciate it. It was a very good discussion. For the most part, you know, like I said, you know, I feel as, you know, as if Israel, not, you know, I believe the majority of them fled to Africa. You know, they went somewhere, you know, the bulk of the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that was in Jerusalem. You know, they had to go somewhere. We know that a lot of them ended up in Europe. And I'm of the belief that they eventually took over Europe, you know, and at the same time, you had us doing what we was doing down in Africa, you know, places like Timbuktu and all of that. And do I think that they play with the history of these things? Yeah. Do I think they hide things? Yeah. You know, I don't think that they just put this type of information out there in the plain view. You know, a lot of times you gotta dig it up. You know, you would think more people would talk about the fact that more people would talk about the fact that Queen Charlotte was part black, or that the original czars were black. You know, but they don't. They downplay it. You know, and it's, you know, it's even to the point where, you know, they have certain people doubting that even if the Egyptians were black or not at this point, you know? So, yeah, like I said, man, you also got to realize that a lot of the Africans are Hamites. You know, Israel was in there too, you know? So what I'm going to do, I like I said, I love the discussion. You know, I'm going to do a little bit of research on this matter and, you know, come to the table with maybe something I may be able to find, you know. Maybe, you know, you might have missed a couple of things, a couple of documents here and there. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll see what type of information I could bring to the table as far as you know, Judah being in West Africa or whatever, you know. And you know, I'll leave it at that.
All right, I appreciate that. My brother Perry, for giving your final remarks. So I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to give my brother Nazi 2 more minutes so he can go in with his final remarks. Nazi, the floor is yours.
Yo, shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, family, children of Israel worldwide, Judah, 4 corners of the earth, you know what I'm saying, even amongst the northern tribes. But all I'm saying is this, man, everything may not be in the book, you know what I'm saying, due to the fact of this. Nobody knows how Esau died. You feel what I'm saying? If the Bible don't give you the exact details on how Esau died and all this other stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So just because the Bible may not give you reason or how Esau died, you know what I'm saying, that does not mean he didn't die. But at the same time, when you deal with other people, they try to dig too deep and stuff. Meaning the book gives enough information for you to learn, enough information for you to gather, and enough information for you to run with. Period. You feel what I'm saying? So when brothers sitting up here trying to find the exact locations where the Southern Kingdom or the Northern Kingdom migrated to, and et cetera, you're thinking too much. You're overdoing yourself. Period, man. You're doing too much. Period. And that's just my take on that. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures clearly show you, according to Isaiah 11:11, also Acts, which is a witness to that. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures clearly tell you where the children of Israel migrated to, and then also according to the Messiah and the 12, the disciples as well. It clearly show you where they went to teach, where they went, where the letters was wrote to. You know what I'm saying? Where the northern tribes was at as well. You know what I'm saying? And you also had the Southern Kingdom as well, that was in the 4 corners of the earth, like the scripture says. So everything is not written in the book. You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, if you choose to go and dig inside other books that you feel that it touches on missing evidence that's missing out of the Bible, I mean, that's your prerogative. But you know, me and my household, we're gonna serve with thus said, that's what's written. Period. So you know what I'm saying? That's my take on all that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I rock with the book. I rock with the book say. The so-called African American, all so-called African Americans are the children of Judah, which is the Southern Kingdom. Now, when I say the children of Judah, I'm not saying that we are just the Judah tribe. I'm not saying that. When I say the children of Judah, I'm saying we are Judah, Benjamin, Levi. So the people that's in America, you got Judah, Benjamin, Levi. People that's in Jamaica, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. People that's migrated to the four corners of the earth, Mexico and all that other stuff of Negro descendant, Judah, Benjamin, it's the Southern Kingdom, period. So I'm not going to attach, just like myself. I can't tell you that, nigga, I'm from the exact tribe of Judah. I can't say that because I don't know that. Only thing I can tell you is I'm from the Southern Kingdom, Judah. That's all I can tell you, because Judah was mentioned as a southern tribe, which was 3 tribes that was spread to the four corners of the earth. That's it. I could be Benjamin, and I could be Levi. I could be either one of them, or I could be Judah. I could be either one of them. But one thing I know for a fact is this: the so-called African Americans is Judah, which is the Southern Kingdom. Period. So, with that being said, that's all I gotta say, man. You know what I'm saying? Quit trying to dig too deep. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the scripture, you digging too deep. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to be extremely smart, over smart, and you gonna end up falling into the ditch yourself. But with that being said, shalom, love y'all, peace and blessings. Ron, thank you for having me on the show, man. Love you too, bro. No matter what differences we had, still love my way. All right, shalom, peace and blessings. All praise to the Most High.
All right, Aki, I appreciate that. Thank you for your participation, Brother Nazi. I thank you for speaking and being upfront and transparent with your position. That's highly respectable. Same team to you, my brother Perry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna exit my brothers off of the panel, and I'm just gonna speak another minute or two, and I'm getting out the way. All right. So family, if you can see me and hear me clearly, hit 1. If you can see me or hear me clearly, hit 1. All right. Hit 1, and let me just give a few more words, and we out of here. Again, I apologize for the quality. Try to work on it tomorrow. Make sure it's a little bit better. But hit 1 if you can see and hear me, family. All right. Cool. All right. So, family, here's what I'm gonna say about this. All right. I love my brothers and sisters in this walk. You know what I'm saying? I'm growing, still growing in this walk, and I'm willing to admit if I have upgraded or if I have changed my disposition on certain things due to further research and revelation on certain matters and certain facts, etc. I never tell people that I have the definitive truth. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a journey to getting truth. So wherever I'm at in that journey is what I'm going to share at that time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be faithful to that at that time until something else comes across. Research methodology is very important. Exegesis and hermeneutics of the scriptures is also very important. Even if you want to take a midrash approach, that's also very important in better extracting what the scriptures is intending by the author to the audience, right? And then how that impacts us today in a contemporary fashion, all right? Looking at the fact that there was a scattering of the children of Israel in the four corners of the earth. Once the text closes, we don't see where the scattering took place. Now in Apocrypha, there's some references to other places, and we postulate from there. But what I'm saying is, unless you do the research outside of text, the bottom line is we know they were scattered, right? But the thing is that people use extra biblical references in order to identify where they were scattered, okay? They can't tell you explicitly from the text where they were at after a certain period of time, right? After 70 AD, where were they at? Where were they living at? Where were they going? Where did they go? So we have a lot of postulations, and that's okay trying to decipher that, understand, and be able to explain that. But the issue is making a general, broad claim, which is merely an assertion that is unsubstantiated unless you can justify and verify that with actual facts. And that's not to say that anybody is wrong per se. Everybody is on a journey as well, right? And depending upon what you're exposed to, what approaches you take to your learning understanding, that will impact where you at along this journey. I'm All right, sorry about that, family. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully everything's good now. But anyway, so what I'm saying is I'm very leery of people who speak as if they have the only definitive truth. And I'm not saying that everything they say is wrong. I'm just saying you cannot be definitive when this is a journey. We have woken up to consciousness, and we're all trying to find our paths on this road to consciousness, to be able to be enlightened. And we all received some epiphany along the way that told us like, oh, you know what, man, that previous path that I was on was wrong. Now I must detour off that path and discover a greater one, because I realize where this path is going to lead me. And once we're able to honor that and honor the walk that everybody has, now we can scrutinize from a position not of hatred or malice, but a position to say, you know what, I want to edify, equip, encourage, empower that sister or brother, educate that sister and brother. So that way I'm just going to give them tools to help them better pioneer the path that has been laid out for them, or a path that they're trying to leave out for themselves and leave behind for others. So I don't invite people on my panel to sabotage them. I don't invite people on my panel to curse them out, to call them names, to disrespect them. That's not what I'm here to do, family. That is not edifying to the people at home. All I want to do is deal with information objectively. So that way we won't have to interject our own personal feelings and emotions and try to resort to that as if that is the authority in the matter, because nobody wants anybody to encroach upon their personal experience. So I say leave that out and let's deal objectively with the information to see where it leads us. All right. There may be some misconceptions in regards to the session when people may think that, oh, you don't identify as being a Hebrew Israelite. I never said that. I said in regards to being Judah, I don't subscribe to the fact that I'm from the tribe of Judah based on my research where I'm at. I don't have that subscription anymore. If you have that subscription, more power to you. I just want people to see the differences and the individuals showcasing their prowess and defending their worldviews, so that way everybody that's watching at home can be edified and empowered and equipped further, family. It must be done in the Hab. A Hab is love, family. It must be done with that spirit that we're dealing with our brothers and our sisters, not our enemies. And if we're able to look at each other like that, we can be more tactful and diplomatic and use this as a tool to unite regardless of differences, because we all still share the same common denominators, family. So this is why we're having this. It's just this. But it has to, if not, you might as well put it down and find something else, because that's what this walk is about, being that beacon of light and hope unto the nations and even to your own lost brothers and sisters. So with that, family, we're going to do a part. I'm going to try to do a part 2 tomorrow. If I don't, I'll definitely do part 2 next week, because it's late and I need to catch up on sleep somehow, right? But I hope you guys enjoyed it, despite the choppiness, despite the audio-visual issues. I hope you was able to glean as much as you can from it. I appreciate everybody in the chat sharing their perspectives, their worldviews, and for being tactful in doing so as well, no matter how passionate they are. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for sharing this video and getting almost 100 people to watch it at 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I applaud y'all for doing that. Thank you for supporting this channel. If those of you who are in here for the first time, I want you to go back and subscribe to this channel, like this video, and go back and check the variety of other videos that we have on this channel. There's people that's been inboxing me on how they can donate. Talk Truth with Shawnee, she's the admin. She's been posting links in there for you guys to donate. You guys can click on the super chat icon, which is underneath your channel name, and the space for you to actually enter in your chat message. Underneath that is a smiley face, and to the right of that is the super chat icon, which you can donate. And you can donate directly to this channel if it has empowered you, if it has enlightened you, if it has educated you and equipped you to be a much better individual in your walk. Then you can continue to support it, because everything that we accumulate, it goes back to the community and to the organization to better the community. Check out the last video that I put up before this one on the channel, where it talks about how we can use proactivism to implement autonomy back into the Black community, which is very, very important and very, very key. All right. I still continue on the scholarship and continue to put up the scholarship lectures I'm trying to do for the end of the year and the beginning of next year, with a lot of the information I've been putting out on Facebook and putting out these videos as well. These are some power pack lectures that's going to accumulate a lot of things that I've littered in other lectures before and in other posts before and other videos before. And I'm going to aggregate everything into one giant mosaic art from all the various pieces and brush strokes onto the tapestry. We're going to paint this picture, and I'm going to make you guys think critically. This is not a definitive presentation. Matter of fact, I'm going to scale back a lot of information and try to make things as to the point as possible. And this is what I'm going to model and try to follow going forward, because sometimes people may be inundated by the information, and that is not my intention. So I'm going to try to streamline it so that way you guys can get most of the major points and try to condense the lectures down and try to have it no more than an hour and a half and focus on main points. And the objective is to put you in your path to research with proper methodology, proper approach, flush out your presuppositions, and be able to deal inductively from the ground up and be able to ascertain exactly what it is that you're studying, what it is you've been taught, what it is that you're learning, understanding the path of enlightenment that you're on. Why are you on this path? Why was you awoken and other people around you are still asleep? What is your obligation to your community? Because you can't just come out and teach and think there's no penalties or consequences when you give misinformation, by at least not being honest when you discover that you're doing something wrong, you're teaching something wrong. Let's be students first before we're teachers, and let's be servants first before we are bosses. You lead by example. You don't lead by trying to get fame and fortune and leaving your name, family. With that, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Peace, shalom, and black power. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for those who will newly subscribe, who already subscribed, and I'll see you guys again. Shalom.